Welcome to the December Coaches Meeting. Why am I in charge of this? I thought Ben
Um,
was in charge of this.
Great.
We can't put him in charge of anything. That's why it's better in charge.
All right.
Okay,
So, yeah, the
yeah.
agenda's posted. You guys are all signing in. Last meeting follow-up real quick. Spring registration, which we'll talk about at the end. Remember, registration closes on January 6th. Help sessions are done. We just had another one tonight. If you're a new school, remember your club season's coming up. If you're a returning school, including having played in fall, then you're eligible for varsity and JV. If you're not sure, just feel free to ask us. State finals location will be announced here in a minute, and we'll talk about that. And then there's a link to the IEN master list for different programs. Make sure you fill that out so we get like your logos, your stream details, if we need those sorts of things for streams that we complete, contact info. Well, you'll also see another form that will come out soon, gathering contact info for coaches to contact with collegiate coaches and those sorts of things. So just be on the lookout for some more form type things to fill out. But we're starting with a partnership announcement that we've talked a little bit about the past coaches meeting with Stay Plugged In. So Kyle and Rick are here from Stay Plugged In. We're really excited about this. If you're not familiar with Spin, you will be soon. But it's a partnership that's going to help us get our students into colleges for esports, connect them with college coaches and different programs across the country. So yeah, I don't want to tell them for you, Kyle and Rick. Why don't you go ahead?
Hey, everybody. First off, thank you all for taking a little bit of time to learn a little bit more about us. Some of you we've interacted with before, some of you we have not. Stay plugged in. We are a recruiting mechanism, a recruiting platform that we hope to help students in your state, obviously, connect with colleges, certainly within the state of Indiana, but obviously throughout the country as well. Ultimately, what we try to do is find the best fit for them so that they're there not just for 1 or 2 years, but obviously for the duration of their 4-year experience. So with that being said, I'll just give you a quick background. I got started in this space, and I tell the same story all the time. For me, it never gets old. I think my cohort Kyle here will probably fall asleep, but I started in traditional sports. That's my background through and through. Played baseball all the way through college. I have 3 older children. My oldest son is the gamer in the family. He's a big Rainbow Six fan and player. He played baseball in college. My middle son currently is in school, college going for baseball, as well as my daughter, who's probably the most athletic. She's a junior in high school, super into both basketball and soccer, and has the goals of being able to play beyond high school as well. So that being said, I also still coach. You see my sweatshirt here. I've got my Charlotte Christian baseball gear on. I had worked somebody out earlier today that was back home from college. I still coach at the local high school. So connecting students to their passion through sports has been something that's been in my DNA for an incredibly long time. I've been doing this for a while. So it became a no-brainer to me as I started to converse with my oldest son as to his passion around gaming and why he loved to do it so much and everything else. I dove into the space to learn a lot more about esports. This is going back now maybe 4 or 5 years. And what I found was that there was a pretty significant opportunity for high school students, especially at the collegiate level, to take advantage of scholarships. Now, as a parent of 3 children, regardless if they're able to get a scholarship or not, being able to have my son or daughter step on a collegiate campus and be surrounded by like-minded individuals, whether it's a club team or something along those lines, is a win as well. So keep that in mind as we progress. We kind of try to, again, make the right fit for the student and their family first and foremost, whether it's a college that does offer scholarship or it's just a club program or what have you. So that's what we do at Stay Plugged In. We've been doing that ever since. We opened our doors right as the pandemic started in 2020. But what that allowed us to do is kind of pivot a little bit in that year. And we literally scoured through every coach that we could talk to at the collegiate level just to find out more, a wealth of information as to who they are, what their needs are, what they're looking for from a culture perspective, et cetera. And I think we've built off of that to really be able to help those students and their parents kind of really walk through and understand the process as best as humanly possible. So that's what we do day in and day out. We try to make it very easy for all of you coaches that I'm sure have more than enough on your plate. But also part of what we try to do is give you tips and tricks. How can you help even if you don't utilize our platform? And that's okay, by the way. I myself as a coach talk to numerous colleges on behalf of my students all of the time. They don't necessarily have to go to a baseball recruiting event or go do this or that or the other. There's, and we're proactive with the student to try to teach them, hey, reach out, be the first one to initiate that contact if you're interested in a specific school and or program. So while that may be detrimental to our business model, ultimately it's really the best thing for the student. And as a dad first, that's really what we care about first and foremost. And you'll see that for anyone that's either worked with us in the past or potentially works with us in the future. From that perspective, our model is also incredibly cost effective. It literally is a $50 charge for the year for the student to utilize any of our services, where we have them connect with a collegiate liaison on our staff to literally walk them through that process, or $5 a month, however you want to look at it. If you were to Google search and do any of the other recruiting options that are out there in the esports world, or any traditional sport for that matter, they're incredibly expensive. You're talking high hundreds of dollars into the thousands of dollars for the exact same type of recruiting services that we're able to provide at $50 a month. What we do is there's a fee on the back end for colleges. So they technically, hopefully pay the lion's share of that cost. And then the student, obviously, we want to make sure we keep the doors open year over year over year. So there's a minimal fee on their side. And it also shows that they're a little bit more serious about that recruiting process as well. Lots of times, some of the college coaches complain to us if someone signs up and just has a free profile, et cetera, they're not as engaged in the recruiting process. They might have just signed up to set up a profile, but there's no real value because they're not vested into it financially, if you will. So even though it's just $5 or $15 for the year, it seems like that catches that student and family's attention a little bit more. So I rambled on for a little bit there. I'll shut up for a little bit. Kyle, do we have a slide presentation that we want to walk them through? I probably covered a lot of the points already.
I can show some of the screenshots of the website real quickly, just to touch on kind of how it works. Quickly overview.
Yep.
Share my screen real fast. So yeah, like Rick said, just talking through the platform, which is really what I kind of lead the charge on, of kind of bringing it to life. So we'll skip through the first little bit here, since Rick already touched on this. But this is what a player profile looks like. From A to Z, it has the information we collect is displayed here for our collegiate audience to see. It's our subscribing colleges only, and all those colleges are verified before they're allowed to use the platform, so that the data is super secure and who it is put in front of. And then from there, colleges can look at this. They can make the decision if this is a player that kind of fits what they're looking for. And then from there, you can see the message buttons, the follow buttons, etc., to be able to connect and start that conversation between the college and that player. Every time a college views a profile of a player, that player and their parent gets a recruiting notification on our platform in an email to kind of say, hey, this college is looking at you, might you want to reach back out as well. So we really built it to make sure, first and foremost, the data is safe and secure, and also the right people only are looking at these profiles and making that recruiting, or starting that recruiting conversation from there. Obviously, this exists in the reverse for colleges as well, where colleges have their own profile. That's public information, since most of that information you can kind of find on a college website anyways. So we don't have any kind of barrier to that flip side of it. So that's what the player profile looks like through and through. Platform safety, that's always a big concern, especially on the school side, is, hey, what are you doing with the data, right? So like I said, the only people that can see player information are subscribed colleges, and all those colleges are verified by me, really, before they're allowed to finish their account creation and use the platform. From there, if a player signs up on our platform and they're a minor, so less than 18 years old, they have to connect a parent account, where before they can continue to use the platform after they sign up, a parent has to verify their account. What happens then is that parent gets that exact same view to the player, and all the notifications, the emails, they all get the exact same on the parent side as well. So the parent can always see exactly what's going on in that recruiting process with their player, their child. Our messaging system is templated, so it's a library of options. So you can't, send anything that's inappropriate in any way, shape, or form. You only have a pretty big array of options, but it's only that array of options. Already mentioned about the collegiate accounts and how those colleges are the only ones that can see it. This is how players can search, or you as a coach can go in and search all the colleges on our platform. see quickly, are scholarships available, where's the college, what games do they play, etc. You can filter by all of that. We actually have a large feature release to really expand this search engine for both the colleges and the players comes January time. So you can see this kind of double in size pretty soon from a kind of what you can search by and how that data is filtered out. But right now, this is how you can easily find colleges that might fit you or fit your students. Our messaging system, very Twitter-esque, I would say. It's kind of what we designed it off of. So you can exchange DMs really to start that connection. It's not meant to have a fully fledged conversation from A to Z to go from meeting that student or meeting that college all the way to a potential offer. Those usually require or should require at least a phone call, campus visit, and also a Zoom call or something akin to that. So it's really to start the conversation and go from there. Profile views, this is kind of how you can see all your notifications, so on and so forth. All of our events, I guess the last thing I'll quickly mention before we kind of open it to Q&A is we host events, recruiting events, where we invite all the colleges to come watch. They get scouting reports with that player information on it. That's all housed in the dashboard in that kind of secure area. From there, we'll facilitate those connections. As for those kind of event periods, we basically open everything up. The players get that subscription level access for free for those 3 or 4 days. They can go in and message those colleges, all to get all those notifications and really get the full feature set of the website for that event. The one for Indiana, which we'll announce kind of officially and get the registration page up in the next week or two, it will be February 25th. I believe, I'm pretty sure it's Rocket League, Valorant, and League of Legends. I think those are the 3 games we're doing in the spring, completely free to the students. You can sign up as their team as a high school or just a partial team, and we'll match you with other players only for the ISM students. So that'll also be coming up. And on top of it, we also have our Carry to College tournament, which is our biggest online event of the year, where we open it up to everybody. And there's a college fair attached to it as well. So a lot of really cool ways to kind of jumpstart and really kick off that recruiting experience, especially for those upperclassmen, those juniors and seniors. So with that, I don't know, Rick, did anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, just quickly, we also host a variety of free tournaments during the week over the course of the year as well, and potentially some free league short runs. It gives the students an opportunity to kind of show their skills at their leisure when they can. If they're not practicing, maybe that's a time for the team to go in and get some practice in a day, in a night tournament, etc. Those are completely free. We typically will have a couple of colleges kind of jump in and take a look or ask questions. I can tell you on our platform, as we continue to scale and grow this past year, every single senior that we have had on our platform has received an offer, literally every single one. So the need at the collegiate level is pretty significant. I know for one of you, you were a high school coach and kind of jumped into the collegiate ranks. So Dylan could probably speak to that a little bit as well. And we do the same on the collegiate side. We try to give them advice as to, get out there and see the schools, make sure you know who's in your backyard. So this would be good for us just to really start to connect to a number of different universities in and around your area so that they get to know you as coaches and your programs and kind of what your offerings are, so that hopefully they'll have that continuity of connectivity with all of you to make those relationship building processes and the recruiting side of things a little bit easier as this progresses. It's new for most people, obviously at the high school level. Esports is still very much in its infancy, but it is still the truth for that to be the same at the collegiate level as well. So with that, I'll kind of shut up for a moment and see what questions anyone may have. As Kyle alluded to, we're going to host a couple of different tournaments, both virtual and live, to help accelerate the process and learn that process a little bit better for the students and for colleges to go out and be able to view them. And another thing is, we're available. We're here as a resource. Think of us that way for you, administrators, coaches, et cetera. Questions you may have, if you got a player that's doing well, et cetera, and hey, what's a good school that this person may fit into? This is what they like. And from an academic perspective, and this is kind of what they play. We can start to give you tidbits as well of information to kind of help you along that process as we kind of progress on this journey together. So anyway, I'll stop there. Questions we can answer for you.
Well, and another thing we talked about, right, was bringing in like students and parents, like have a parent town hall at some point to invite parents into what this process looks like, other school administrators if they want to be involved too. So bringing in more of the surrounding stakeholders too into these meetings. We're just rolling out to you guys as coaches first, but you'll see a lot more about this in the coming months too.
One of the things, just to dovetail off of that quickly, Joseph, because I see there's a question. Again, as a parent, I was the parent that, as my older son got into gaming with Rainbow Six, I didn't understand it. I was constantly questioning him. What are you doing? Why are you doing that? It's beautiful out. Let's go do anything but be inside in front of a computer playing a video game. So I did a full 180 to have a better understanding of why he was so passionate about it, right? But I did my due diligence. I kind of researched it a little bit more and everything else, to the point where I have a separate business altogether. But I wanted to start at this because the reality is, for my oldest son, Nick, had this been available for him prior to college, there's no doubt in my mind he definitely would not have gone to college to play baseball. He would have gone on an esports scholarship of some variety. And that's where his passion lies. And shame on me, because I didn't recognize it or pay enough attention to it. And my brain tells me that's probably still true for a number of families that are out there. So we try to, that's why by design we have, parents involved in a lot of the things we do, because I want to make sure that support system is there for them as well. At the end of the day, I kind of use this story a lot as well. When I was growing up playing Little League, whether I did good, bad, or indifferent, really didn't matter. At the end of the game on a Saturday, my mom or dad was there to probably say, hey, let's go get an ice cream. You'll get them again next week. I don't know if that happens as much as it can and or should at the esports level for high school, right? So that's what we try to do, is get more and more parents intertwined with this process so that they have a better understanding. So that support at home is available for that student as well, because that's a big piece of this. So, but I'll stop there. I think Keaton has a question.
Yeah, Keith.
I think his question may have been the same as David's. It looks like
David, the video pitch.
Oh,
I think the cost maybe, but
Oh, the cost. Okay.
Sorry. I have a daughter who's crazy. I'm back.
Yeah.
But I ran into a guy at a bar, his son, who is like, he already graduated high school, but he told me he's taken a gap year. So he's like 18, I think, and he's trying to get recruited. He's trying to go through this whole process. So does it still work for students who are not enrolled anymore?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we've also had students from community colleges and or four-year institutions where they've realized, hey, this isn't ultimately where I wanted to go. And they kind of reopen, if you will, the recruiting process, even though they may be a freshman or sophomore in college already. So this is open to anybody who's looking to, establish themselves with a scholarship, at any collegiate or college in the country, regardless of their age and kind of what their current situation is. Just to answer from a cost, I wrote it in there as well. Again, our cost is literally like the price of a cup of coffee for the month. That's it. It's incredibly cheap by design. That's so that a student will have someone kind of associated with their account that they can talk to on a consistent basis to kind of walk them and their family through this process. Hey, here are the few schools that we've recognized for you. Let me tell you a little bit about them, that type of thing, and get the parents involved, and then start to set up those conversations with this specific collegiate coach so that they can start to interact and see if that's the right fit or not. That being said, a student can certainly set up a profile for free at any time. They can engage in any of our tournaments for free at any time. I can tell you, college coaches, even if they don't have a profile, have kind of poked us in the past and say, hey, this student doesn't have a profile. I can't seem to be able to message him or get in touch with him or her. And we'll kind of somehow, some way make sure that they're able to connect still anyway. But obviously for us, from a business perspective, we'd like to have as many students on board to pay the fee so that we can continue to scale and grow and provide the types of services we provide. Again, if you look at it simply from a cost perspective, and I would suggest, when we're done with this, maybe, again, Google any of those other services and you'll see I'm deadly accurate when I say we're unbelievably inexpensive by comparison to the next option that's out there. So, so yeah, the video pitch, David, that's a great idea. I'm just kind of reading these real quick. We do have a plan to get some videos out that are based for not just the student, but for some of the coaches and some of the colleges as well in terms of recruiting tips and tricks. So you'll start to see that as we get into Q1, David, as we are starting to program kind of what we want to get out there on a messaging perspective, so that it's literally on the website and the student can just click on it, or a collegiate coach can click on it and kind of learn a little bit more about the recruiting process, who we are. So a little bit more information that they can dive into and how to get that recruiting journey started, if you will.
Thank you very much.
Yep, you got it. Carlos has
We-
one on there. There are plans for schools, so the cost is not directly given to the student. Got it. Carlos, that's up to the school individually. I have had schools that have paid for their students because it is a relatively low cost again. But it's each case, it's a case by case basis. So if you're an administrator or a coach that is looking at it as, hey, I've got 10 players and that's whatever the math is on that, $500 for the year, I can sign them all up and they'll have these free recruiting services. At the end of the day, we don't care who it's coming from. That's up to each school individually to kind of see if that's an opportunity for them or not. Hope that answers it.
If you're just to dovetail off that, if you're interested in that, we can set up an individual call and I can kind of walk you through what that onboarding process would look like and go from there.
And the ones we have done, we've discounted, if I'm not mistaken. Is that accurate, Kyle?
Yeah, we do
Yeah,
for
so-
any program for its annual fee, it's 10% kind of added together. So.
Off. Yeah, so it's discounted even further. FYI. Any other questions we can help out with or help you understand? Cool. Easy
Yeah,
group.
so we're really
Go ahead.
excited about this partnership too, and the opportunities it can offer to students. I mean, like I've had students compete in some of the Carry to College tournaments, and some of those things are always really well done, and we get contacts from colleges all the time. So it's just another opportunity for us. I mean, some of us interact with college coaches in the state, some of us don't, and this is a way to kind of offload some of that from us being gatekeepers to allowing students to do that on their own in a way that's still monitored and safe and beneficial. So yeah, Kyle's in the Discord server, the Stay Plugged In profile on Discord. Kyle manages, so you can ping him. I think there's a channel specifically, yep, for Stay Plugged In or under announcements and important. So you can look there for things that they'll post or if we have questions. But yeah, there's lots of exciting opportunities. We're working on something else that's a little ways out that I'm super excited into. So I think it's a really good partnership for us. I think it's really great for our kids to give them all these opportunities.
Awesome. Well, like I said, first and foremost, we're here to help. If there's anything that we can be of any help with, feel free to reach out at any point. We'll always make time to talk and kind of figure out, where can we help that student and their family with the process and take it from there. I know you all do quite a bit beyond just the esports side of things, so we're certainly sensitive to that, and we try to make this as streamlined and as easy as possible. One thing, I think this will end it for us, but Joseph, one of the things you just mentioned, one of the things from a feature set that we are dabbling with that I'm sure we'll see come to fruition sooner than later is having on that messaging feature a portion of it for high school coaches as well. So that as those students and those parents are getting contacted, for example, someone in Joseph's program, then all of a sudden Joseph would get a notification as well saying, hey, Dylan's college just connected with so-and-so, so that now you can also start to have a conversation with the student and or the parent as to, hey, yeah, I understand they got this. Make sure you write them a letter, here, get them your transcript, everything from A to Z as well. You don't have to. At the end of the day, you can be as involved or uninvolved depending on each person's time and kind of how they feel about getting involved in that process. Some are a little bit stronger into, yeah, I want to be there. And some are like, man, I think that's for the family to do. Either way is fine, but we want to at least make that available so that it's an opportunity for you to be involved as much as you would like to be anyway. So you look out for that down the road.
Yeah, I know that was a question the last time we talked about this with the coaches meeting, because they had that question was, is there going to be available for the coaches to be involved in it if they wanted to? So that's good. So.
Yeah. One of the things you'll find is, we're not perfect. We never claim to be. We always learn, but the best way we learn is from all of you, whether it's the collegiate side on the coaches, and they kind of consistently give us feedback because we're always asking at the end of the day. Every year we'll get them on the line and say, hey, what could we do better? How could we be better for the student and the family? How could we be better for you? And you'll see that we'll do that with all of you as well. As we progress in this journey and have this relationship, it will consistently kind of get asked for anyway, feedback. Hey, how can this be easier? How can we streamline this? How can we make this better? How can the student walk away feeling like this was an accomplishment that, this was well worth their time and effort and energy? So you'll see that as we continue on. So that's one of the reasons we want to add that feature set in as well. We've heard that feedback from other high school coaches as well in the past. So good deal.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. And
Cool.
like they should
Yeah.
chat. Like you got Kyle's email and a Discord there, and we meet with them regularly too. So if you want to drop the board of director or something, we can reach out and help relay messages. But I think
Awesome.
it'll be good for us
Well,
all.
Thank you all for your time. Enjoy the holidays. Hopefully, you're not going to get inundated with this cold and wet weather that's coming through, depending on when you're supposed to get out. I don't know if you're already getting it. We're getting it overnight tonight and tomorrow. But anyway, have a safe and happy holiday. And again, if you need anything, just let us know. But we're excited for the journey. So appreciate your guys' time.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
All right. Next is the state finals announcement. So we talked about this for a little while. We've been working on a location for the state finals. Bendix was Bendix last year. We can leave it at that. But a lot of the feedback we got was, sure, it's great for the schools in the northwestern part of the state, but not really for the ones in the southeastern part of the state. So we started looking for something more centrally located, something that allowed us a few more opportunities to do some things that we wanted to grow into. So Dan Marino, the director of esports at Ball State University, is here to help us make an announcement about our state finals for April.
Awesome. Thank you, Joe. Super excited to be here and super excited to get to deliver this news. But in talking with the board and hearing, sort of what, they would like in a finals event, and we came to an agreement to have the high school finals on our campus in Muncie at Ball State in April. And I just wanted to pop in to kind of go through what we had planned and what we're expecting to do with this event and what you can expect with this event, both for your students and for yourself. Because coming into this, one of the things that I had talked about with Joe and the rest of the board was that I see this event as being an opportunity for us to just go past facilitating competition and get to offer different areas of programming, not only for students, but for any of you or parents that might have interests or questions when it comes to esports, when it comes to running teams, coaching teams, things like that. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time tonight kind of going over what that plan looks like and kind of what we're anticipating once we get to April and how it'll all work. So as mentioned, April 29th will be the state finals for the single A, double A, triple A level. We'll be facilitating the competition. I believe it's Rocket League, Super Smash Bros, and Valorant with a potential League of Legends showcase match. We'll be able to host that all on campus in 2 separate facilities, both located in the same row of buildings that are all connected. So if it is cold out, nobody will have to brave any frigid temperatures. But that's the easy part. The next thing that I kind of want to lean into and kind of talk with you all through is what we're planning to do around the competition. Of course, we'll have Valorant matches happening. We'll have the Super Smash Bros. Matches happening. We'll also be doing production of those events. One of the things that I'm really proud of with our esports program at Ball State is that we've included broadcast and production as a main pillar of what we're doing within our esports program. So it's something that we take super seriously. And any of you who are familiar with Ball State know that that's sort of our bread and butter as a university. So getting to do these broadcasts is something that is natural to us. But one of the things that we'd like to plan on doing is work with any interested students at your schools who also might have an interest or even up to a passion when it comes to content creation, broadcasting, and kind of everything in between, and do it with your students. So I'm fortunate enough that my students in my broadcast program are basically subject matter experts. We started the program about a year and a half ago, and I got to be the smart guy for about a week, and then everybody got way better and way smarter than me. So I know that they'd be thrilled to get to work with any students that are interested, whether it's casting, doing graphic design, all of those little things, to come and make a broadcast special. So that's a piece of what we'll be doing. And then additionally, our plan is to offer, like I said, different programming and different opportunities for your students, yourselves, and parents, if that's of interest. So starting with the students, one of the things that we would like to do for those that make the playoffs, and then any of those students that, whether they're on a team in the playoffs or not, coming to campus on the 29th is offering different sessions, workshops, and clinics about their chosen game title. So I'll use Rocket League here as an example. Leading up to the playoffs, we'd be more than happy to utilize our Rocket League coach, our Rocket League players, to sit in with any interested students and talk about technique, talk about concepts in game, maybe look at some game review to kind of help them push to that next level. I know that in my experience, when I began my esports career, my background was in Overwatch, and I know that when I started to coach a League of Legends team, that I was so out of my depth. So I think that sometimes, regardless of what one person's background is in a game, I can lean on my crew and kind of help your students gain a better grasp of their game potentially, especially as they head into these finals. Once we're on campus, regardless of who's playing and in which matches, it can be any students from any schools. We'd like to hold some of those workshops on campus as well, and then also open it up to some games that maybe we aren't there to compete in the finals for, whether that's Overwatch or League of Legends, just to give another opportunity for students to work with our coaches and our students on maybe more advanced game topics. So what I've already told my coaches, my students that would be running this, is that it probably won't be an overview of the game, as your students have been playing it for an entire season at that point, but rather it might be a more niche concept. So it won't be as simple as this, but like in basketball, yes, you can play basketball and you can also execute a pick and roll, or you can maybe in football run slant. So talking about playmaking, talking about niche things in the game to help them sort of level up their play. So we'll be looking to have spaces to do that for students on campus. And then additionally, one of the things that, and one of the reasons the university, is really excited about this as well, is because, well, frankly, there aren't many opportunities for us to get hundreds of high school students on our campus to see what we have going on very often. So we're also planning on having different tables about different colleges, academic programs within the lobby of the building we'll be competing in. So that'll give students a chance to learn a little bit more about Ball State, potentially take a campus tour, talk to people that are in certain departments. So if you have a student that's really passionate about, business marketing, we'll have somebody in the Miller College of Business there that they can kind of talk to, get some more information about. Because one of the things looking at this schedule, it's going to be a long day and not everybody will be playing at once. So we really want to just make sure that, there are opportunities to fill that space or that space on the calendar. And then when it comes to parents and educators, directors, coaches, some of the other things that we were sort of brainstorming were around, doing panels, doing workshops, boot camps, things like that. So, if there is interest, on the parent side to have a bit of a Q&A around collegiate esports or esports in general, happy to facilitate that. It doesn't have to just be me or my students on that panel. We could certainly do it with you all. And then when it comes to maybe coaching clinics, if any of you are interested in that, we can set these things up as well. Basically, since the tournament's going to be on a Saturday, at the end of our semester, we're not going to be fighting for space or resources with any other events, particularly in that building. So we can host all of these. If no one's interested, we don't have to do them, but I just kind of wanted to lay out the buffet of options that we're currently thinking about. Now, with us running the event, a couple of neat bullet points that I just kind of want to hit on. We'll be supplying T-shirts. We'll be doing lanyards and trophies for all the winning teams. Their food will be provided one way or the other. It'll either be from an off-campus provider or our on-campus food service. So we really want to make this an event that's special because, again, going back to the original point, I think the easiest part is just facilitating the competition. Hey, come in, sit at this computer, play the game. But what we want to do is sort of, go to that next level and sort of provide a more holistic and engaging event, not just for the students, but, for everyone attending. That's basically, my plan. We're still kind of working out, all the intricacies and how it'll all work. And then once we get back in the spring semester, we're gonna hit the ground running to flesh it out. If anybody has ideas or anything that I didn't mention that maybe you'd like to see, I'm all ears. Right now, it's really is a blank slate in terms of what we're able to do and what we'll be able to get done for April. So that's all I had. I'm really excited. I don't know if anybody has questions or things they might want to know more about, but can hang around for that. But yeah, I'm super excited.
Yeah, we're all really excited too. We've been looking for places for a while and trying to figure this out. And I mean, Dan's kind of latched onto it and had a whole plan when we went down and visited him, and it's been really cool to see his vision for it and what we're doing too. We'll come up with we have a schedule that we'll release to you guys soon, but the basics are in terms of competitions. We'll start with single A in the morning, double A in the afternoon, and then triple A when it's over to try to segment competitions. But again, because it's not just a competitions, it really is a full event. We would encourage you even now to put in those field trip requests to your schools and your admins and plan on coming, even if you're not going to be in the competitions. Bring kids that are interested in these media production, or bring kids that are that want to find out about what it's about, or are interested in going to Ball State. Bring parents along with the students of your seniors to be on a college visit. Bring your principal and your admin to say, look, this is what esports is really about. So start planning now for those things, even if you are a club program who's not going to be in competition at the varsity level, or even if you're not sure if you're going to be there. There's going to be enough to do and a lot of cool opportunities that I think it's going to be worth it for you and your program, even if you're not competing.
And we are looking at having some sort of middle school portion to this also, whether that be some kind of like a demonstration or like a some sort of competitive festival, whatever. We're still fleshing that out.
Thoughts, questions, feedback? Everyone's stunned, Dan. They're all just stunned and silent.
I'm cool.
I think everyone's just excited for it to be more centrally located from what I've seen in the chat. So that's pretty good.
Will
that more
Dave Letterman be there?
I can't make any promises. I'm not even on the list of people that are allowed to know when Dave's on campus, so
nice.
I wouldn't know.
Nick, the time schedule now is 9 to 5. So based on the schedule we've come up with, which should leave enough padding for everything, single A competitions will start at 9, and that'll be when we start some of these other tangential events as well. And we should be able to be wrapped up by 5.
We want to stress that if you are involved in IEN whatsoever, please start conversations with your administrators as soon as you get back from break about attending this, getting transportation figured out, going through any logistical hurdles you need to go through. Start that conversation first thing in January. We really shouldn't be seeing situations where schools have to tell us, oh, we'd really love to attend, but unfortunately couldn't make it happen. And it's because you waited until, late March, early April to start those conversations. So I would say that, tell them about everything that Dan's mentioned today. We'll send out some more information here over the coming weeks outlining this. This video call will be uploaded to YouTube, so you could actually show that to administration as well if they have any questions or concerns. But regardless of anything else, please put it on your calendar, talk to administration, and get all the busy work and the paperwork done that you need to.
I don't know if we've said it in the past. We probably have. You may remember last year's finals were the top 4 teams that made it to semifinals and on competed. It is this year just the teams in each division in those 4 titles that make it to finals. But with all the other stuff that Ball State is going to be having going on, like the workshops and the middle school showcase and the different college tours and stuff, even if you aren't competing, it's still a great outlet for your students to come and watch, network with other people. Just a great experience overall. So.
And just to chime in again, that's exactly what we're going for. So, again, if something I mentioned, if you were hoping to hear something that I didn't mention, please suggest it. I guess I'm totally open to making this what you all want, what your students want. So just because I didn't say it doesn't mean it's not possible. So definitely let me know any ideas or thoughts that come up along the way, because we probably won't be 100% locked in on everything until about 8 weeks before. So there's still some time to brainstorm and flesh things out further.
Dan's also in the Discord, so he's easy to get a hold of. So,
do we have any kind of a flyer or email to forward, or with all the information for that day put together yet?
We can come up with something like a one-pager to share for sure.
I'd like to share some. I'm at the high school in Wayne Township, but I'd like to send some to the middle schools. I just had a big meeting with our new CTO, and they've got plans to have the middle schools invited in to an esports program, and they're trying to make everybody uniform through all the schools so that IT can take care of everything. So I think it would be awesome if I could invite my middle schools as well.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think the best way would be just to forward them an email maybe, or send a flyer to their principals or something.
Yeah, we'll work on that over break and get something. We're trying to get some like media packages put together with Ball State, so we'll be able to come up with something pretty quickly and get you a one-pager. Yeah, and it is just the 29th for those kind of following along in chat. I mean, that was the downside of having to do it all in one day, was eliminating the semis and finals, but it'll still be a good time for sure. Anything else from anyone? All right, Dan, you're welcome to hang out, or you're welcome to dip out. Yeah, like we said, Dan's in the Discord, or you can reach out to us and we can relay messages back and forth. But yeah, I just want to reiterate, this whole thing's been really exciting to work on, and I know we're all very looking forward to April when we get a chance to put on a real nice event.
Yeah, thank you, Dan. I really love the way the new lab looks up there. I've seen some video, but I can't wait to see it in person.
Yeah, thank you. Can't wait to host it. I'll leave you guys to finish your business, but if anybody has anything, whether about this or not, feel free to reach out. Like I just mentioned, I'm in the Discord at Sport, and then of course, happy to converse with anybody about anything. But thanks, guys. Looking forward to April.
Yep. Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
Last thing on the agenda, spring registration. Remember January 6th deadline. I know that's rough because some of us aren't even back in school yet. But you really need to try to get everything done by that 6th. Now, what that means is creating your teams and having your teams registered for the leagues. You don't need to have all of your rosters finalized for those teams on UGC by the 6th. We want that done before competitions start, but you still have that preseason week to get kids in the lab, make sure they've created their UGC accounts and accepted the invite. So what you really need to do by the 6th is have the teams created on UGC and have registered for the leagues you want to participate in. There's the Am I Registered checklist that has gone out, and we'll make sure we link it again in the important links doc. It's a one-page document with registration links for everything you need, so you can make sure that you have all of that done. You have to re-register this split. I don't know how many times we've overtly said that, but just because you competed in fall doesn't mean you're registered for spring. You have to re-register for spring for every title, tournament titles included. So just because you had kids playing Fortnite or chess or Tetris, make sure you redo those Google Forms and refill them out so that you're registered. All the tournament titles are Google Forms. All the normal team titles are UGC. We can share those UGC documents again. If you need help or if you're not sure if you're registered, ping one of us and we can check real quick and make sure and let you know. Just don't wait until the 7th and be like, oh, I didn't know, I didn't have questions and I didn't ask them. So reach out. We want to help you. We want to make sure everybody's registered. We know the timing isn't great with winter break, but we really do need to get everything in by the 6th.
I'm gonna add on top of there really. Oh, sorry, Ben. Go ahead. No, you're good. Okay, I was gonna say go ahead and sorry. I was gonna say go ahead and make sure to do the same team names you did last season. That helps us out. And if you are a club school who has participated in your mandatory club season in the fall, you are now eligible to move up to varsity and JV in the spring. So make sure you will do that. And go ahead, Ben.
Tyson, to answer that real quick, no, you don't have to recharter if you've already rechartered. You just need to re-register your actual teams for the seasons. I've relinked the register. Am I registered link checklist there into the coaches or the meeting notes? Sorry, and that is kind of like a one-shop stop, guys. It's like got everything in there. It's linked, all the different stuff you need to do for UGC, and then it has all the stuff linked in there that you need for Google Forms. Just I want to reiterate what Joe said, but you need to definitely re-register still for those non-UGC titles. So Fortnite, Tetris, and chess, you guys still need to re-register for those. Just because you registered last time doesn't mean your kids are in. You need to re-register for those, and then still re-register for your UGC titles too for all the other team-based stuff.
Yeah, so Tetris, Test, Fortnite, and iRacing are not varsity JV. They're also divisionless, so it's just kind of everybody in the same pool. You are, as a club school, eligible to compete in those, yes.
Joe had also mentioned, you don't have to have your team rosters actually set up. You just need to get your team set up in UGC, not actually have the students. Please make sure that you actually have a group of students that's committed to playing in the spring. You're not just making assumptions. That way you get to the spring, we get to January 16th of the week, and you go, oh, well, my kids just ghosted me. Just spot check and make sure they're committed to playing so you don't run into that.
Yes. The caveat for that is for varsity and JV, 100%. Absolutely. Don't sign up a roster unless you're really sure. For club, there's more flexibility. So if you're a new school and you're like, I think we've got this supported for club, make a team, sign up for the club. Because if you end up not playing, that's fine. But only for the club is that true. You need to be real sure for varsity and JV that you're going to field that team.
Yeah, I'd like to reiterate that even for if you've been here, but your JV or varsity is getting kind of sketchy. You got kids that are like, hey, I don't know that I'm going to be able to play, whatever. You can still sign up for a club, even if it's, you're teetering on not having a team, but just please don't do it for the JV and varsity yet. But even for the, the teams you've had for a long time, I know there's people already messaged me this in the last season and was like, hey, I'm not going to have a JV or not going to have a varsity for, the coming season. So you can always do club too.
So I want to make sure I'm understanding correctly. I'm sorry. I have a Valorant team in the fall here that I had both JV and varsity, but I can, for the spring, it's fine if I only move to varsity alone and eliminate my JV. I had an issue with fielding enough players, so I'm going to do that right on.
Cool. Or you could do varsity and club. You could sign them up for that JV roster, bump down to club, and fill in
That's
when
true.
you can. But
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
David, we see your question. I know we talked about this in the past, and I honestly don't remember what the decision was.
Yeah, I don't think we actually came up with a decision. So I know we had issues where kids had still in college are still in high school and do college classes too, which is slightly different too, but it's a different situation. But I don't think we actually came up with
I know in the past, at least for my school, it depends on your school too, because some schools have a problem with kids who have graduated and then come back to extracurriculars. They don't allow that. So it's on a school by school basis as well too.
So our player eligibility in the general rules and bylaws is must currently be enrolled as a student. Exceptions to be made at the discretion of the board of directors. So we can discuss that and get back with you. Anything else about spring registration? Great. Nominations for competition council and board of directors. If any of you are interested in being a member of the competition council, who's tasked with overseeing rule changes, evaluating how rule sets are going, looking at the league as a whole. One of the things we're starting to consider as we grow is what does it look like? Do we need to adjust division sizes? Do we need to start looking at geographical divisions? All those sorts of questions are competition council topics that are being evaluated. So if you're interested in being a part of that council, or you know someone who you want to nominate that might be interested, let us know. You can drop us a DM. We'll come up with a Google sheet or a Google form that you can fill out too, and we'll link that. But just if you're interested. Also, if anyone's interested in being a member of the board of directors, you can nominate yourself or someone else for that via the same process. But what we're really looking for are people who are going to roll up their sleeves and work. So we've got a lot to do. We've got a lot of ideas, but we're growing in some key ways and are not opposed to help. So if anyone is interested in that, let us know, and we can start evaluating those nominations. In the January meeting, per the bylaws, is when we will vote on the competition council, and we will announce any new board of directors if those members are chosen from nominations. So be thinking about that. Competition council will happen within the meeting, so everyone gets to vote on that council. Just be thinking, yeah, I want to nominate someone. If you're on the competition council and want to step down, it'd be nice if you let us know that too before the meeting. But we will have a ballot for the January meeting where all of the members at large vote for the competition council. So that'll be in the January meeting. Last thing, so we're definitely done before an hour. Portage, Nick's here. Portage won the inaugural, I don't know what the name is, Fit Gamers C9 ISEA Rocket League tournament. Something at least adjacent
Tournament
to
of
that
Champions.
name. Tournament of Champions. There you go. I knew I was missing something. So Nick, I don't know. I don't know how many teams you played against, but I know it was some different states from across the country, and you guys went undefeated, right? You guys didn't drop a game. Oh, it did go. Oh, yeah, first of 9 in that final round. So congrats to Portage for that, and for everyone else who participated as well. We got to show everyone what we know, which is that Indiana's got the best Rocket League teams in the country. So that was a pretty cool thing. Also, make sure you're paying attention to like the Intel Inspires tournament still going on. There's still some signups for that. There's lots of different ways to showcase our students on a larger audience. So there's the spin tournaments coming up, the Carry to College. We'll push those out on socials here soon as well. But lots of opportunities to be considering for our students. Did I miss anything, guys?
I'm gonna go with Nick's usual comment, probably, but I can't think of anything else.
Did you mention that we need to get registration done before the 6th?
That's the big one. That's the real big one there.
Yeah, and if you know someone that's not in the meeting, remind them, hey, we know you're on holiday coming up at January 6th, and we'll continue to push out announcements and stuff. Yeah, David.
Sorry about that. The mute button not quite working. So remind me again, where's the one-stop shop to get everybody registered with all the details? Is that just in a certain page of the Discord?
It's we can put it there too.
Yeah, we'll put it there too, but it's also in the coach's note that we've linked. I can link it again to the
There's the doc, the specific doc, the Am I Registered checklist.
Okay,
yeah, but it's also in the.
Yeah, I've got a link inside the coaches meeting.
Second doc I put there is a link with every single page if you need that too.
I post a weekly newsletter to the Discord as well as email it to coaches as well, and the link is in there.
Cool. Yep, and the one Nathan posted is a Google Doc with every individual UGC link, so you can just find, hey, I'm AA Rocket League Varsity, boom, it's all there.
Yeah, it's like the master list.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else before we wrap it up?
Yeah, Carrie had a question. Yeah, you do need to re-register all teams for the spring split.
Yep.
You do not need to redo the charter though, just the register for each game for your teams.
Yep.
For your varsity, your JV club, whatever you have.
General rule of thumb, if you don't see yourself in the teams list on the league page, you are not registered. So make sure you're there, and then you're good to go.
Yep. I just had a thought. One thing we should do in January is like highlight all the new schools that we're bringing on board. So we can do that in January. We've had a lot of onboarding meetings recently, so IEN's definitely growing. It's exciting, but we should highlight all the new schools in January.
Yep. Carrie had another question there. It's not just UGC, it's also your tournament titles, right? So if you have people playing Tetris, Fortnite, iRacing, or chess, you'll need to sign up to those Google Forms to re-register that too.
Anything you're going to play or that you did play that you're going to continue to play, or if you're doing something new, everything has to be registered on every single title. Just because you played Fortnite last season, you're not registered until you re-register your kids. You too, David.
Yeah, I mean, we can hang out for a few minutes if anybody has any more thoughts they want to share. Anything? When do we have to have registration completed? January 6th. You do this, but someone will seriously ask within the next few hours. So, yeah. Merry Christmas, everybody. Have a good winter break. If you're already on it, I'm jealous. I have to work tomorrow. So, if you want to hang out for a few minutes, we'll hang out for a few minutes and take any more questions. But see you all in January.